Ben is a perfect guy with a great heart and a big vision for so many people that are disadvantaged in our country. And there are many people that are just that. People are born into this world with parents and sometimes no parents, and they don't have anybody to help them, really show them where to go, what to do. They emulate what's around them, and a lot of times it's not the greatest example. I think back to so many people in my life that had it not been for this conversation or this meeting or that meeting, I call them divine meetings, where they're unexpected, where you meet certain people in your life, and it just makes things better. And because of that, doors are opened. You're given direction. You feel better. You're inspired. You learn something. And that's a good thing. And my advice to some people when they know that they're in bad company is to find new company, and sometimes leaving the old company behind. It's kind of a sad thing, but you take a negative person, and they, every place they go, everything sucks. You ever hear somebody, they're negative, and so they decide they move, and everything sucks there eventually. Everything's so beautiful, people are so nice, and then they get to know them, and they find out that they suck. Sometimes we need a restoration. And I guess what I'm trying to say to some of you out there that are retired, become a big brother. Be a mentor to somebody, to a young person, to a young adult. Take them under your wing, show them some things, talk to them, help them. It will help you. It's therapy. It's good stuff for you, and will give you purpose and meaning, and it will give very big meaning to that individual. But I believe that all of us, we have a job and responsibility to the next generation and to others around us. And I think too often we get so caught up in the day-to-day things that we do that we don't notice the others that are without, that are struggling, and legitimately. There's things that life lessons that I learned through life and kind of propel me to work harder, to do things right. And I'll never forget this. It was so many years ago. This gentleman that was struggling. I guess he had MS real bad, and he had crutches, and he was having a heck of a time trying to get onto the bus. And I asked him where he was going, and he said, "I'm going to work. I got a wife and kids to take care of." And this guy was having a heck of a time. Instead of going on disability, which he could have easily gotten, he struggled every single day to get onto that bus, to put food on the table, and he didn't complain. There was a book out, I forget the author, but I heard it on one of Chuck Harder's shows when he was doing For the People back in the 90s, and it was called A Nation of Victims. Maybe you remember that interview. But there's so many people in our society that are victims. They're looking for, that water droplet off the escalator where they can fall down and sue Macy's or whatever it is, looking for those opportunities. Everybody's a victim. The one guy that was suing McDonald's for the seats being too small because he couldn't fit both of his 3 or 4 rear ends in there. I mean, you know what I'm saying, guys and ladies. It wasn't McDonald's fault. The guy was overweight. But it's things like that. It's like, let's take some responsibility personally speaking. Let's point the fingers. It's so easy to point your fingers at other people, but back at yourself. What is it? For every one, there's 4 pointing back at you. Something to think about anyways. I have to occasionally have this conversation because, believe it or not, I'm not just talking to you. I'm talking to me too. And this is good information for both of us as we're trying to get through this thing called life, because we all are in all different places and all, places. By the way, I did tell you about my bike story. Our listener Bob says that I have a new nickname. And guess what he came up with because of the biking? I fell off my bike if you didn't hear yesterday's show. My brake locked up, and I went flying off and didn't break any bones, but my knee's hurting. I guess my wrists are hurting on both arms, and I have some scarring on my hands, blah, 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 blah. Bruising, actually, not scarring because I had gloves on, but just very sore. He called me Flip. Isn't that cute? Thanks, Bob. Love you. He's a cyclist, too, I believe. I think I've seen some pictures online on Facebook, and tell Bob that's not nice. I had to laugh when he did it, too. It's okay. We're at Facebook, by the way. You can weigh in on all things, anything. Weigh in on anything that we're talking about. You want to contribute, say anything at any time. It's okay. You don't have to be embarrassed. You can just go to For the People Show at Facebook, or just go to forthepeopleshow.com, and you can contact us directly by email, too, if you don't want to be public about it. You just want to send me a private message, that's okay, too. And I appreciate all of our listening audience from whether it's Kansas City. We appreciate our big affiliate in Kansas City. You guys are awesome for tuning in and listening to us there on KCXL Country. We love you. Big station there, and we're on in drive time, man. What a great position there on KC. And we're on so many other markets out in Phoenix, Arizona, Ocala, Florida, Memphis, Tennessee. I know I'm leaving out some other markets. I have to look at my affiliate page. But we are growing and on demand at forthepeopleshow.com and on Liberty News Network that syndicates us via satellite for stations to be able to carry us. And we are working on an affiliate relations package for IPFMs, or LPFM, excuse me, low-powered and full-powered stations. Me and Sam are putting together some strategies on how we can get a hold of more stations to promote the broadcast. But we could use your help if you'd like to be a promoter of For the People. You can make calls to your local radio station if they don't carry it, and on social media, you can share it as well. So that would be really awesome for you to take the initiative and do that. Some of you already have, but if you have some extra time in your hands and you can help out, that's great. So the Democrats, they're rethinking several different things. And one of them was when Donald Trump was actually speaking to Congress. You know, the Dems quickly went on to television, and now they're quickly regretting what they had actually done. They say that they have made a big mistake. They've been making a lot of mistakes, but they picked the 72-year-old ex-governor from one of the states, which is Kentucky, who voted for President Trump to deliver the party's response to Trump's congressional speech. Yeah, it wasn't good. Representative Emanuel Cleaver, who has represented Missouri in Congress since 2005 and previously chaired the Congressional Black Caucus, told MSNBC a day after Trump's Tuesday night speech the Democrats picked the wrong man and an ex-Kentucky Governor Steve Beshner to represent their party. I don't mind saying we make mistakes, and that was a mistake, Cleaver said. Beshner delivered a widely mocked speech, which he accidentally claimed to be a Republican at one cringe-inducing point, and then the response also featured a peculiar backdrop of people. You got to see this, sitting behind him, near motionless in a dimly lit diner. And asked what Democrats were thinking when they selected Beshner, Cleveland was blunt. He says, the problem is you're asking about thinking, and that didn't happen. And I thought to myself, isn't that a metaphor? We weren't thinking. And I think that's the problem with a lot of America. They're simply not thinking. Because if you do, things go a lot smoother, don't they? If you plan things, you analyze things, you weigh things out with a moral compass. But instead of having this vindictive attitude, spiteful attitude, losing attitude, accusatory attitude, this is the stuff that happens. Again, more backfire. And this horrible thing that happened the other night, and Trump, again, hit it out at the ballpark with a speech to try to make fun of the widow of our SEAL team. She was crying and thankful, and you could see emotionally. I mean, it tore me up. I mean, I couldn't watch anymore. I was crying. A grown man can cry, believe it or not, and I did. And if I watch it again, I probably would do it again. But Taya Kyle, she weighed in on this, is what she had to say.
Yeah, I mean, I know people who are very close to her, and we've had some communication in that regard. But the fact is that she's intensely private. She has no desire to be in front of anybody, but she found the courage to get up there, again, knowing that there would be people who would say horrible things about her because she believed that her husband deserved the recognition, and she's the only one left to stand for him. So she's standing for him. It takes incredible courage. You can see her looking up and trying to reinforce the fact, I am not here for me. It is not about me. Right. It's about him. It's about Ryan. And, God bless her for doing it in the midst of her grief, to stand there and try to represent him the best way that she can.
And Ryan Owen was a hero. And, it was just a special moment. And now so many people just coming out and smearing her and smearing Donald Trump for that very thing because of the applause that was given. And the applause wasn't for Donald Trump. The applause was for her and for her late husband and nothing more. The left had their people and everything that they've been using. And this was a time for Donald Trump to address Congress and to honor her husband and her. And now they have to discredit, and it's shame on them. That brings disgrace, and believe me, for anybody that served in the military, and to hear that, believe me, I don't care if you're Democrat or not, you hear that and you're serving and you see that. There was legitimate tears. There was no Hollywood stints. And that's what a lot of people on the left are saying. Oh, my God, we couldn't have. Michael Moore is one who is just running off at the mouth, his fat ass. That's what he is. He's a fat ass, mouthing off, spouting off hatred and animosity towards this woman who misses her husband terribly, loved him dearly, and you could see the anguish. But she was proud that her husband was getting some recognition. He was very deserving of it, and he was being honored. And what a beautiful thing that was. And believe me, folks, if you have not seen that part of the address, please go to YouTube. If you don't know how to get there, have somebody show you how to do it. Go there, watch the speech, and you will be blown away by the energy. And with the energy in that room, it will not be forgotten anytime soon. It was a record, and things will continue to be like that. When you start doing things right, magical things happen, and nobody anticipated that particular thing to happen. But it's just like evil to rear its ugly head and do these particular things. And when you don't have a moral, ethical compass, and you'll win at any price, and you'll step on anybody to rise to the occasion to make yourself look better, these are the things that people will do. God bless her, and God bless her late husband and her family. They did not deserve this, don't need to do that, but that's how far a lot of the left is gone. This is their mentality, and it's really a shame. I believe that, 90% of Americans or more are not like that. They are better than that, and they would not succumb to that. But there is fragments of our society, and thank God it's not that prevailing, 99%. But there are idiots out there that will do these things, think these things, say these things, and to me, if you study some psychology, they don't like themselves too much, and they have ignored a thing called conscience, and they make fun of things like religion because it's weak, right? Everything's the mind, Scientology, your brain, the scientists believe that, your brain.